Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Stranger in Exiles podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Toyrak. My co-host, Daniel Toyrak Sr.
Hello, everyone. God bless you all,
Welcome
especially
back.
all of you Buddhists. Please, God bless you and come to the truth.
Yeah, we're missing a couple people this time.
Yeah, I just saw the video from the last podcast, and I realized how much fun it was having Dylan and Kevin in here with us during this this setting, because usually we don't do this type of thing with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time, you know. It started making me think: should we like invite people?
Yeah, we can.
Like, would it be fun to like have a guest? Like, I don't know. I'm wondering. What do you think? All right, that's just something for you to think about. Something for you to think about.
All right.
Junior left his iPad somewhere, and so he's using my iPad. So I had to use my laptop just in case you see something different here. So.
Yeah.
And then thank you, producer, for this lovely Lego bouquet of roses that we have here. Lovely bouquet of roses.
The Lego set was just the flowers, and you found a vase for it?
Yeah. The vase was a dollar store.
No,
It came with it.
Oh, it came with it?
It came with it. All right.
Cool. So last week we started on Buddhism. You gave a little intro, a long intro.
Well, I mean, it was hard because really last week didn't roll the way I wanted it to. I just felt like the stuff that I was mentioning, it really wasn't in my idea to mention, especially when I do things with you, because we kind of flow a certain way. But then when you had added elements here that disrupt the flow. But independent of that, I got the idea across of the beginnings of Buddhism.
Yeah.
It's Siddhartha Gautama. He goes out at 29 years old. He sees suffering in the world. And then suddenly out of nowhere, he decides to leave the palace, never left the palace. And suddenly he sees a sick man, an old man, and then a dead person. And then he realizes that there's suffering and that he wants to find a way to get over the suffering, to somehow end the suffering. And then that's when he goes on his journey. And then ultimately he realized that being wealthy and rich didn't do it. Also being very strict and to the point of near death, of starving yourself, of really doing it the hard way, that didn't work. So then he founded the middle path, the middle way, and that was what he ended up using. He found the middle way was the right way to live your life. And then he ended up going under a fig tree, and he got into intense, deep meditation. And then during that intense, deep meditation, he was able to finally end his suffering. He was able to find his true self. He was able to achieve his enlightenment. Once again, I asked last week, any proof of that? Like, how does oneself know that oneself has reached enlightenment? Mm-hmm. Like, because at the end of the day, he lived for another 45 years. He taught for 45 years. You mean to tell me for 45 years, the rainbows were out every day and the butterflies were this and then the birds were chirping and that nothing ever happened to him? What about when he got to 75 years old and he realizes that it was starting to become difficult to urinate? Like, what? Was he just above that?
Was there no more suffering?
Was he just over that? Or was it all appearances? Did he teach them, but in reality? Because let's be honest, we're all human beings. He's not a god. He's a man. He is a human being. He experiences everything that we experience with no difference. I question the true validity of how oneself can attain this enlightenment. And number two, what does it mean? What is enlightenment? And number three, was Buddha really enlightened up until his last breath? I mean, was he just above everything else? Did he have zero desires? Did he have zero suffering? Those are things that it doesn't pass the smell test for me, Junior.
Yeah.
It doesn't pass the smell test.
And it's good that we touch on that, because now that we understand a little bit more of the character of Buddha and why this whole thing started, now we could go.
No, just so you know, real quick. The tree that he was enlightened under, that tree, according to the Buddhists, still exists today.
Oh, really?
It has been destroyed, but they have taken saplings and regrown the tree. And that tree is still around. You can actually go to the tree. And a lot of the hardcore Buddhists do that. They go there because they feel like they can receive spiritual enlightenment there. But yeah, you could look it up. It's an actual tree. They built a whole shrine around it. It's a whole thing. You
Wow.
know? But yeah, whatever. Don't look it up now. It's just for your edification. I don't know if you want to go. I don't know where it's at in Nepal or northern India. No, it's in India. I don't know if you next time you go to India, you might want to visit the tree. It's far from like Mumbai. It's like way over there, you know. But
if I go to India,
yeah, I know. I don't know. After I saw that they paved their floors with cow doo doo, I'm not cool with that. I'm good. I wonder if the Taj Mahal has any form of cow doo doo.
well, I feel like people have said that it smells like doo doo around there in that area.
The people that I know that have gone to India say the minute you get off the plane, that's all you smell. Like all you smell, it's a perpetual stink that no sort of air freshener can ever alleviate. So, all right, just saying. This is what I've heard.
Yeah. So now, as I was saying, we went through the character of Buddha, his origin story, and how he turned into the creator of this religion. Now we could go into some of the essential beliefs of the religion, starting with the most important part. They call the essential tenet is the Four Noble Truths. So maybe you could talk about it for us.
Yeah, this is what Siddhartha Gautama, who later would be named the Buddha, this is what he came up with. After learning with many teachers in the palace, and then after going out and learning with several gurus and sages, after he finally went through his 6 years of suffering, and then he found the middle path, this was his enlightenment. This is the core doctrine of Buddhism. This is the key. This is what every Buddhist, independent of whatever school that you are trained at, as you remember, we went through the 3 schools. You have the oldest school, which is the one that is the Indian, Sri Lankan, like Malaysia, those countries. And then you have the one that came a little bit after, which that's the one that spread all throughout China, and it spread through Japan and Korea. And then you have the last one, which came about around the time of Muhammad, really, and Islam. That one is the Tibetan Buddhism. The Tibetan Buddhism, their whole thing, that you know what they came up with was kind of interesting, because I started reading a little bit into it, but we'll get more into it maybe in the next podcast. That the Tibetan Buddhism, I think they realized that people weren't cool with the whole 100,000 thing or a million thing. So then they're like, look, we have a way to fast track your enlightenment here. We have a way to fast track you into nirvana. If you follow this and that and this, we'll get into that. That's what the Dalai Lama teaches. The Dalai Lama, just so you guys know, he is the 14th Dalai Lama in the line of Dalai Lamas. Just so you know, the Dalai Lamas are chosen not by vote. They are apparently chosen by God. Apparently, the Dalai Lama knows that he's a Dalai Lama, and he has to know certain things. So in other words, he recovers the memories from the previous Dalai Lamas. And then the sages will ask him certain questions. And if he answers them correctly, then he's the next Dalai Lama. Okay. The only qualification is that you have to know the answers. And no kid would know those answers unless he's the Dalai Lama. Because the reason I mention is because the Dalai Lama is getting old in age, and he's actually not threatened, but he's made mention that he may decide to become the last Dalai Lama.
Oh, really?
Like no Dalai Lama after him. And I think he's doing that to cover himself, because we live in a world of internet, and a world of Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. And it won't look too good for Buddhism if the Dalai Lama dies and there's no other Dalai Lama, because now it isn't like it was 80 years ago when you could just put an orange robe on a kid and say he's the Dalai Lama. Now you can't hide that, you know? So he's actually made mention recently that he's considering being the last one. And of course, that's just to cover the religion, you know, which is convenient. So this laptop keeps like going into like sleep mode. I need to fix that. All right. So the essential tenets, which is the four noble truths, they are, number one, is the truth of suffering. It isn't just the fact that you are, it's the truth of suffering. In other words, suffering is something very real. The second one is the causes of suffering. The third one is the cessation of suffering. And the fourth one is the noble path leading to the cessation of suffering, which is the next thing we're going to talk about, which is the eightfold path, the noble eightfold path. Following this first Dharma teaching, Buddha taught about non-self. No independent entity is perpetual and invariable in the existence of 5 human aggregates, which they are form, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. In other words, nothing in either the physical or mental world can be considered immortal or permanent, which is what I was mentioning last time, that the Buddhists, contrary to the Hindus believe that they have a self, and that self is immortal. That self jumps around, bounces around from thing to thing up until eventually it receives its liberation. In Buddhism, they don't believe that you have a self or a soul. You are not permanent. You are an impermanent thing. You, Danny, your reality of you living here right now is in an impermanent way. When you die, you yourself, Danny, your consciousness does not live on in your soul or in yourself. That's done. What goes on is your karma. Your karmic forces are what you carry on to the next body, or the next animal, or the next plant, or the next god, Deva. You know, they believe in that. Yeah, naturally. I mean, isn't that obvious? I mean, come on, what's wrong with you? In addition, speaking of the Buddhist tenet, it is important to remember a historical fact that on the way to enlightenment, the Buddha, that was a mistake. Honestly, that was a slip.
That one got the producer.
That was even the producer started laughing out loud on that one. The Buddha deeply meditated on the law of, Junior, what is that?
Where are you reading?
I'm close to the bottom of it.
On the law.
The Buddha deeply meditated on the law of?
Pratitya Samatpada. I don't know.
You did good on that one. During before he became a Buddha, when he cut off the series of samsara. Therefore, we may conclude that the essential tenet of Buddhism includes the teaching of the 4 noble truths, the non-self, and the dependent origination. A little bit more on the noble truths. The first, and I'm reading from a website. You're not. Yeah. The first noble truth is suffering. All right. So now there's a little bit of an explanation. Humans are born into a world of suffering. Birth is suffering. Disease, old age, decay, and death are suffering. Life is full of sorrow. I'm almost positive that antidepressants run heavily within Buddhism. It's like their worldview, their outlook is just so like dim, you know? Life is full of sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. Not getting what one desires is suffering. Being exposed to unpleasantness is suffering. Being cut off from desired objects and pleasures is suffering. Making us sometimes we wish we had not been born. I'm telling you, the antidepressants. I didn't even read the rest of that paragraph. That was funny. So that's this is a brand new computer, so it's I'm trying to figure it out. It has a lot of look at this. It's shutting down on me. Okay. The second noble truth is the cause of suffering. So the first one is that they're suffering, and they went all through that. The second one is the cause of suffering. And what is the cause of suffering? Craving, desires. The root of suffering is craving the delights and pleasures of the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body. So in other words, the fact that you desire certain things is the cause of your suffering. You know, we drive by McDonald's, and my wife, she used to love the ice cream cone. It used to be $1. Now it's like $2, whatever. But she always used to love that. And back then occasionally I would stop and get her one, and she would enjoy her ice cream cone. So apparently the fact that she desire, or like sometimes we would go to Krispy Kreme.
Oh yeah.
Because she wanted a donut. So we would literally get in the drive-thru and get one donut. Like not a dozen, just one donut. And the lady would always look at us weird, like, who buys one donut? I just want one donut. It's to satisfy the craving that she had. But now would I equate the fact that she wants a donut or an ice cream cone to suffering? That's where you get really deep philosophical with these people, you know? I just figured we're driving and she wants a donut. I didn't know that the desire for the donut is causing her suffering. If I would have known that, I would have gotten her a donut every day. Mm-hmm. Then she wouldn't be suffering. But then again, would she be suffering more because then she would be desiring it more? Okay, now I'm starting to get these people. All right.
I mean, from a Christian perspective, I guess we kind of believe the opposite, right? Because we're supposed to believe that the desire, we're supposed to be fighting against that. So then the life of the Christian is essentially putting down your desires and your human nature, which is more suffering than just giving into it.
Okay, but I need to touch on that. The desires the Bible is talking about is sin.
Yeah.
Sinful desires. Her wanting an ice cream cone, is that a sin? It is, I guess, if you're a diabetic.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Gluttony.
An ice cream cone is gluttony? No. 12 ice cream cones is gluttony. One ice cream cone, I don't consider it gluttony. I consider it enjoying an ice cream cone. I'm telling you, the Haagen-Dazs is going to shut their doors then. I mean, what is this? Where such cravings arise and take root. So Tanya's the ice cream took root in her, there will be suffering. Craving for delight and pleasure of the mind also causes suffering. Craving eternal existence, higher forms of existence, continued existence, immaterial existence, and craving the continued existence of the self all bring suffering. That's why they don't believe in the self. Craving the cessation of pain also brings suffering. So you desiring to not be in pain brings you suffering. Explain that to me while I figure out how to stop this thing from, okay, like what do I type? Like in the settings for the screen settings?
May display. Are you in settings?
Wait, where am I at? Yeah, go ahead, keep talking. You're doing good.
Maybe I should do that while you explain.
Huh?
Maybe I should do that while you explain it.
Well, because I need this page, but it's just good. All right, go ahead and do it while So in other words, as we can see, it's like timing out at like every 30 seconds, whatever. Forgive us. I know this is very unprofessional of us, as if we were professional. But I just find it odd that they equate everything in life to suffering, and then any sort of desire brings on suffering. I just when I compare it to the biblical standard of what suffering is, and putting aside your desires, it's always in the context of a sinful desire, the lust of the eyes, the gluttony, the desiring more, people desiring more and more money, never being satisfied with anything. Those are the desires that really, when you become a true Christian, you set those aside. But I wouldn't broad stroke it as all desires bring on suffering. I just can't reconcile the two. So did you figure it out?
I'm looking.
I thought you were supposed to be the expert. You know what? I'm going to meditate while you look for it.
Okay.
Come, dude, it's not a big deal,
really
bro. I mean, you're killing me over here. Okay, display. Brightness, color, scale, display resolution, advanced display. You know what it is? It's probably, how do you go back? It's probably, system. It's probably in the power and battery. Energy saver. Screen hibernate. There we go. Turn my screen on battery. Turn my screen off after. You know what? I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out later on. I'm sorry, everybody. This is not. So the first one is suffering. The second noble truth is the cause of suffering, which is your cravings or your desires. The third noble truth is the cessation of suffering. So what did he mean by that? What may bring about the extinction of suffering? The complete fading away and extinction of craving. So in other words, when you get to a point through your meditative practice that you no longer crave anything, you no longer have any desires. The complete fading away of craving, liberation and detachment from craving, that craving may vanish and be extinguished, the forsaking of desire for delightful and pleasurable things. So now you no longer have desire for delight or pleasurable things, breaking free of the cankers of attachment and seeing the things of this world as impermanent, miserable, transitory, and elusive will bring about the annihilation of sorrow. That last sentence I just read, I can kind of jive with.
It's kind of.
I can go with that. I can go with that.
I feel like we preach that kind of same thing, just not to such a sad extent.
Personally, I love that sentence because I preach that sentence. I just don't preach the 4 before it. And then let's see the one after. Freedom from desire will bring about the extinction of suffering. I don't agree with that. At the end of the day, people are going to suffer. Don't tell me that you getting down, sitting, crossing your legs and doing this is going to take away suffering. Yeah. It may be in your head. You could delude yourself to thinking that, oh, now I am no longer suffering. I have no attachment to desires. I no longer care for anything. Cute. But once again, how can we actually measure that? Like, in other words, Buddha lived 45 years and taught all throughout India. How can we measure internally if he actually was free from desire or not? Realistically, he is not a god. He is not all powerful. He is a human being. How can one externally measure something that is completely internal? Mm-hmm. So how do we know if it's true or not? How do we know if it isn't just false? How do we know that he didn't just take some of the Hindu beliefs, some of the ascetics belief, and then combine them, throw them in a blender, put it together and say, I have been liberated. I am free. You know, it's funny. The Hindus, you know how they dig at the Buddhists?
How?
Oh, they love to do this. See, the Buddhists don't believe in God, right?
Yeah.
The Hindus, you know how they dig at the Buddhists? They say that Buddha was the avatar of Vishnu. So the Hindus, they knock down on the Buddha saying, you don't believe in Vishnu? Buddha was Vishnu, an avatar of Vishnu, but you don't believe in Vishnu. So that's why they're always fighting with each other.
But why would Buddha teach that gods don't exist?
That's the key. That just shows you how false all of them are. One of them teaches completely contrary to the other one. But yet the Hindus stand on their belief. Yeah. And then the Buddhists say that you guys are all false. And then we Christians over here say all of you guys are false. So whatever. Okay, so the third one is the cessation of suffering. Now, what is the fourth noble truth? The fourth noble truth is the truth of the path that leads to the cessation of suffering. So in other words, remember, and you notice how they keep using the word truth, right?
Yeah.
They love using the word truth because they want to delude people into thinking that what they're teaching is true. The fourth noble truth is the truth of the path that leads to the cessation of suffering. In other words, this is the way, guys, not Jesus. Jesus is not the way, the truth, or the life. It's funny. We got way and we have truth all together in this right here.
Yeah.
It is the middle way. The truth is the path that ends to suffering, which is called the middle way. Let's see if they use life in this. That'll be funny. It is the middle way that avoids the two extremes of the base, vulgar, unholy, unprofitable path of sensual pleasure in opposition to the painful. In other words, his life in the palace.
Yeah.
You know, the just, you know, unprofitable, sensual pleasure, women, all of that. That is in opposition to the painful, unpleasant, unholy, unprofitable path of self-mortification. This is the Jain path, the Jainism path. This is the one that is you just deprive yourself of everything. So in other words, he's highlighting the extremes of both paths. His life in the palace, his 6 years wandering around as an ascetic. Then he says, it is the middle way beyond those two extremes that leads to liberation, peace, discernment, enlightenment, and nirvana. So we have the first truth is realizing the state that we are in, that we're in a constant state of suffering. The second truth is what is the cause of suffering, and that is cravings and desires. The third truth is that you can end this suffering. And the fourth truth is this is how you do it. This is the eightfold path for you to be able to end your suffering and eventually go to nirvana. So that's what the four noble truths are. Obviously, we look at them as four noble lies. However, you know, this is what they teach. You know, obviously, I mean, I'm not here to chastise or put down. I'm only telling you what I believe and know to be truth, and what these people call their version of truth. So
now moving on, as you mentioned, the eightfold path, which would be the fourth noble truth in quotation marks. When you give us more detail, I know there's 8 of them, obviously, eightfold path, but then they even separate into 3 categories of the eightfold path.
Yeah.
So maybe you can kind of explain it to us here.
What number are you reading?
41.
Okay. All right. Would you like to get down and fold your legs while I do this so that you could maybe practice this? And no?
I think I'm good.
All right. What is the eightfold path? Okay, now that we've realized, because remember, they call them the truths, right? Now we realize the truths, right? That suffering, the cause of suffering, that you can end this suffering, and this is the way to end suffering, all right? He called it the noble eightfold path. It is the holy path to enlightenment, and it includes 8 branches, all right? The first one is the right view. Like, if I was just to tell you that, what would you mean? Like, what would you think about that? I know you just read the rest of it, but
well, just like a view that, I did just read the rest of it. Like a correct way of looking at things, I suppose. A correct perspective.
Okay, so basically he came up with the right view is the view that is always in accordance with the truth. So in other words, following the teachings of Buddha. Reading your Tripitaka, reading, you know, all of the books that they have, the mantras, the tantras, all of that, and always maintaining a view that is in accordance with the truth. Number 2, right thought. The thinking or intention that is in accordance with the truth, leading to a virtuous life of true peace and happiness. Break that one down a little bit for me.
I guess it just has to do with the way, like, you're like making sure that you're thinking in a way that you're taking yourself to that nirvana, that place of nirvana, right?
Okay. So it says the thinking or intention that is in accordance with the truth, okay, according to what they believe, leading to the virtuous life of true peace and happiness. Now, do you think that the true life of the virtuous life of true peace and happiness, is that what they would call nirvana, or is that you living now? In other words, if you adopt the right thought, that will lead you to live a good, virtuous life.
Yeah, I guess that.
Because technically, nirvana, you're not living. It's the force.
It's an enlightenment then.
Luke, every time I say force, I think of Star Wars. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to understand this one a little bit more. If I have the right thought, it is the thinking or intention that is in accordance with the truth. Okay, I'm good with that. Leading to the virtuous life of true peace and happiness. What life is that?
What do you mean?
What virtuous life of true peace and happiness are they talking about there? Is it your life now or is it samsara?
I imagine it's your life.
I mean, nirvana.
Yeah, I imagine it's your life now.
But how if you're constantly suffering?
I think it's saying leading to enlightenment. Like what the Buddha was living for the 45 years, whatever.
I don't know. Look, I like to pick apart words here, and it's sometimes, okay, but what if you only do the first 2 and you don't do the other 6?
I think it's actually a question talking about that.
Okay, don't, you're getting ahead of yourself. All right, the third one, right speech. Okay, so the first one is right view, so you have to have the right view of the truth. Second one is right thought. Your thinking or intentions have to be according to the truth. The third one is right speech. The speech of truth that is in accordance with Dharma or the teachings. So in other words, you have to have the right way of speaking and make sure that you speak truth always. The fourth one is right action, which they call that doing good deeds. In other words, work-based. And I can't say work-based salvation. I have to say works-based enlightenment. Number 5 is right livelihood. The noble life of goodness, virtue, and ethics. The next one is right effort. Diligence in practicing ethical disciplines, meditation, and wisdom. So in other words, this is what we would call your Christian walk, your Christian life, is being diligent in your ethic, discipline, meditation, and wisdom. The next one is right mindfulness and action with attention, awareness, and alertness. I don't get that one. And the last one is right concentration. The concentration or meditation that leads to the renunciation of craving, hatred, ill will, self-attachment, etc., etc., etc. So they break these down into 3 little branches or 3 little groups. The first 2, they attribute it to wisdom, which is the right view and the right thought. The next 3, they attribute it to ethical discipline, which is the right speech, right action, right livelihood. And the last 3, they throw that one into the basket of meditation, which is right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration.
Yeah, what does the right mindfulness mean?
That's the one that didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
That I literally told, but you were scrolling, so I didn't want to bother you.
Attention, awareness, and alertness.
Yeah, like if I were to tell you right mindfulness and action with attention, awareness, and alertness.
I don't know. What's that?
I wanted a dialogue, but I saw you scrolling, so I didn't want to mess with you. I don't know what it means. Let me see if this other webpage tells us. That one's right mindfulness?
Yeah.
Nah, it doesn't tell us anything. Although continued practice on the level of mindfulness or concentration brings a deepening of understanding on the initial level. But in the end of the day, they all come together and work towards the same end. Yeah, they didn't really explain it the way they explained the truths.
I guess it just falls into the umbrella term of the Fourth Noble Truth.
Yeah, but I just don't understand what it means to in action with attention, awareness, and alertness. Like, in other words, it's just like that's literally what mindfulness means. But I'm just wondering, is that more like of a behavioral thing?
I guess.
Yeah, but they lump it in together with meditation.
I think it describes the term right, which might help us out after that little table.
The word right always stands in front of each branch to remind us of the difference between right and wrong. Okay. What are we in kindergarten now? For instance, the right view differs from the wrong view. Really, the right livelihood differs from the wrong livelihood. Thank you, man. I just feel like now he's gonna give me a lollipop.
So that was the Eightfold Path.
That was the Eightfold Path.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, those are the two truly the two most important things in Buddhism.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Four Noble Truths, the fact that you're suffering, the fact that there's a cause for your suffering, the fact that your suffering can end, and here is the way to end your suffering. And then the Eightfold Path is the way to get out of suffering. So,
And then question 17 talks about the fundamental beliefs and then goes to talk about the triple jewels of Buddhism, which are the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha.
Sangha.
To make kind of they say is an add-on to the Noble Truths. So may you kind of explain it to us.
Yeah, this is these triple jewels this is really big with him. Number one is Buddha. Buddha is Buddha.
Yeah.
You believe in the Buddha, you believe in everything he does. Dharma are the teachings of the Buddha. So that's basically the first two of the triple jewels. The third triple jewel is the Sangha. The Sangha is the community. Mm-hmm. It's you realize that you are. That's why all of those Buddhist gurus that they have all those communes.
Yeah.
They're making their own Sangha. You know, their community. But within the Buddhist religion, the Sangha is vitally important because you're not just an individual, you are part of a collective.
Yeah.
You are part of a community, and that is what the Sangha basically is. So
I like that both this one and Hinduism, it leads you to the idea that you're supposed to be a part of a community or some sort of like gathering of people you have one guy that teaches you your beliefs.
Cult.
Yeah.
Cult. Drinking the Kool-Aid down in Jonestown. I'm just saying. Look, it's true at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we just watched that Wild Wild Country with that guy, that nut job over there in Oregon. And same thing. You know what I mean? People go and they believe what he says and they leave their homes and their families and their lives and they live out there. And guess what? Like they always say, every cult, there's two things with every cult: sex and money. Sex and money. Every cult, it always boils down to those two things. You know you're in your cult. You know you're in a cult if they don't let you get out of it. Now you know you're in a cult. So.
And people might kind of say that same thing about Christianity with churches, but at the end of the day, our beliefs are based on a Bible that we can just read and interpret ourselves. You don't have to only listen to your pastor. And you'll see, like, even in our church, our congregation and the pastors, they have different views of different things.
Yeah.
Depending, so it's different. Versus with Hindus and the gurus, like, oh, your guru tells you something, that's what you believe now.
You have to believe
That's your
that.
belief.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, obviously within our circles, I mean, there's certain things that I differ with my own pastor on. There's things that he differs with me. But that's at the end of the day, none of those differences disrupt the core doctrine.
No, of course not.
Which is of Christ, and that's really at the end of it what it is.
Mm-hmm. So now we're going to kind of go back to, in your thing, question 33 is where we start going to more theological things.
30 or 33? Which one?
What was 30?
Well, it's why must a person take refuge in the thing?
Oh, okay. No, yeah, that makes sense since we just talked about the triple jewels. Yeah, let's do that 30. So the question is, why must a person take refuge in the triple jewels to be a Buddhist? And I'm assuming you need to take refuge in these things.
Yeah. If you do not have a sincere desire to take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, which is the teachings, and the Sangha, which is the community, it means that your decision and devotion are not strong enough for you to sow the Bodhi seed, or in other words, the seed of enlightenment. The reason why they call it the Bodhi seed is because the tree that he became enlightened under is called the Bodhi tree. So that's why they call it the Bodhi seed or the seed of enlightenment. In fact, you may ethically perform various wholesome deeds, in other words, be good in a very natural way, directed by your own temperament. However, if an outburst of rage and ill will suddenly emerges in your mind, it may whirl you, sweeping you impotently into the darkness of your own karmic habits. In such a situation, you may be engulfed in sin after sin. At this point of life, you still have no coast of enlightenment as your own spiritual refuge of shelter. In other words, what they're basically saying is if you don't want to be a full convert, be part of the Sangha, you may slip and fall. And your slip and fall is not just going to be a little trip.
Yeah.
It's going to be a full tumble down the mountain, you know? Because the way that they speak here, it's like, you know, just because if you get angry once, that's it. You're going down some cosmic trail of bad karma, you know? If that's the case, like for instance, when I go out there and drive, and then like the guy in front of me, the light turns green and he doesn't move. I usually wait a second or two, but then by like the third second, I'm like, move. So like that's it. I'm on a whirl, a spin. I'm spinning away. Once you have taken refuge in the triple jewels, you have sown a seed of Bodhi in your field of mind. If you always take good care of your Bodhi tree by practicing the Dharma, because remember, you're planting it in your mind. So then now you got to water your mind. Is that like when you shower? Is that like, are you watering your Bodhi seed? I don't know. But you are creating for yourself an invisible current of protective energy, bearing that current of energy with your thought with you throughout life. Thus, even when the mental storm of greed, hatred, and ill will emerges in your life and disturbs your inner peace, this invisible energy, which is like a current of water, you know, all around you, this invisible energy of protection provides the very spiritual shelter for you. It will, at a certain point in your life, regenerate the Bodhi seed that has gone to sleep in the bottom of your mind. And you can't make this up. The very enlightened energy you once sowed with all sincerity and devotion. Even if, after taking refuge in the triple jewels, you take no care for your Bodhi seed and you neglect it, that enlightened seed still sleeps in your mind soundly. Dude, are we all born with this seed?
Yeah.
Like a little Bodhi tree seed?
Like, do we have possession of the seed? We just have to sow it?
I guess we have to water it and nurture it. Yeah, you have to nurture your seed. So dumb. It may be awakened at any time in the right conditions, like an old friend coming back with earnest love. Now, in the light and love of that spiritual regeneration, you are able to continue to nurture the enlightened source of your own Bodhi tree that was once forgotten. This is why you have to take refuge in the triple jewels. So in other words, all of us have a seed in our head somewhere.
Yeah.
And right now we aren't really nurturing that seed. We're not watering it. We're not taking care of it. We're really doing a bad job with our seeds. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm starting to feel bad. Like, I wonder, how do I water my seed? Is it, do I read the Buddha books?
Yeah, you meditate.
Do I meditate? And then I join a community?
The Sangha.
You know, the Sangha. Yeah. I join a Sangha. Do we have any Sanghas here in Homestead? Maybe. I don't think we have. See, even if I wanted to do this, I have nowhere to go. I don't have resources to water my seed. I'm just saying. I'm sorry, bro, but there are no Sanghas down here in Homestead. At least that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
I've never seen a group of people walking around with orange like things, like the robes and all that.
I'm assuming this whole seed thing comes from the book, right? Whatever book they read.
But aren't you just born with the seed automatically?
But like the teaching of this Bodhi seed.
Oh, you mean it comes from like one of the books?
I'm sure, right? Because I'm thinking it sounds a lot like the parable of the seed with Jesus, at least in the beginning, before it talked about nurturing your seed. like in the beginning when it says to sow your Bodhi seed, and then to make sure that you're immersed in this whole sangha thing. That way you're not being overtaken by sin.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like sowing the seed.
The
but
first
you're
seed
falling
and
into thorns.
Yeah. The second seed. Yeah. It's not growing.
Yeah.
But when it's thrown into the good dirt.
Yeah.
So in other words, our minds are not good dirt, good soil.
Yeah.
So we're bad soil.
We're probably like rocky soil or something.
We're probably the first one where the bird came and ate the
probably,
seed.
Yeah.
That's why I don't have the seed. The bird ate the seed.
Then it gets weird.
Dude, didn't I tell you every religion starts out cute? Like what I was telling the boys last week.
Yeah.
Oh, Dylan was like Buddhism. Yeah, because I like the philosophy, and I like the concepts. Probably could maybe line up with my life. And I just think it will probably be good for me to just meditate. I'm like, dude, you got the pamphlet. The pamphlet tells you that. It's like the Jehovah's Witnesses. They're over there with their JW.org. They gave you the pamphlet. Oh, are you saved? Do you want eternal life? Once you appeal by the Mormon knocks on your door and says, yeah, we believe in Jesus Christ. And you're like, oh, really? So do I. And then you invite him into the house. Now the devil's in your house.
Yeah.
And then now suddenly out of nowhere, you're a god. Jesus is a god. God had sex with Mary in heaven, and then they had Jesus. And you're like, whoa. Bro, you show up on your bicycle with your white shirt and black tie on. Dude, where did that come from? They don't tell you that when they're at the door. No. They tell you that once you're in Sunday school after like 6 months. Now you're like, oh, crap. And then you can't get out. Then you can't get out. So yeah, my boy Dylan, I don't know if you're going to watch this, but bro, forget all that. Christ.
No, Dylan's a good example, though, because even with Christianity, he's been getting more into it. Thankfully, he goes to church every so often. I think I told you this outside the podcast.
Yeah.
But he's kind of like that type of guy, like you said, that he's entry level Buddhism because he just believes in the philosophy, not the actual like whatever the actual Buddha, whatever he taught.
Yeah. And
he's kind of the same way with Christianity. At first, I was telling him all this stuff, but the root of it is Christ. It was like, oh, I can't believe that Christ was resurrected. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense in my head. How does that happen?
Oh, okay.
I can't believe the earth was flooded. How does that happen? No, that doesn't make any sense.
Oh, so
like
he was using logic.
Yeah, but he says, but the stuff you guys teach, I guess, is good. Like you're telling people to be good people. So that's kind of where I think the philosophy part of it, he was saying with Buddhism, that's kind of what he was talking about.
Yeah.
People being morally correct.
Gotcha. I think Elsie put too many crucifixes in front of him when he was a kid, and now he's traumatized.
The next question, coming off of what we were just talking about, it almost feels like they're not contradicting themselves, but they're going a little bit back on what they're saying is, can a person attain enlightenment if he just practices Dharma without taking refuge in the Bodhi seed, I guess?
So can a person attain enlightenment and liberation if he just practices the Dharma without taking refuge?
Which is what they were just saying, that you need to take refuge. Now it's
can. Yes. Yeah. Now it's can, right? Okay, cute. What do you think the answer is going to be?
Yes, but it's rare.
The guy literally says yes, but it's really rare. Just so you know, guys, once again, this is a document that has like 100 Buddhist questions on Buddhism answered.
Yeah.
I believe that this guy may be a Theravada just because of the way he looks, I'm assuming just because he's probably more in those Southern Asian countries.
I think you said he's Vietnamese in the beginning.
I said he was Vietnamese?
No, I think the book says, what page is this? 37.
Oh yeah, because his name is like the Vietnam, like Nam Hoc.
Yeah, born in Vietnam.
Yeah, what's his name?
Khai Thien. I don't know how to say that name, but Khai Thien, also known as Thich Tam Thien.
Yeah, those are interesting names. Is that like Jones for them? Is that like their version of like Gonzalez? I don't know, because I've seen that a lot.
Yeah,
that name. But
I think the Go, like NGO, I think that's their version of like a.
And you know how to pronounce that?
It's either Go. Yeah. I think
no, it's Nya.
Oh, really?
Literally, I saw that one time. It's Nya. Like it's yeah. It's almost like the Joneses of America are like the Parks of South Korea, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody's named Park.
Yeah. A lot of Parks.
It's a lot of Parks.
And then what's the one for China? It's a popular one over there too. Like
Wong?
Wong, Chang.
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like
I know that Wong is incredibly popular.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do we talk about this?
We're talking about him being Theravada, I guess.
I'm assuming he is, but maybe he isn't. He's one of the three. Anyway. So can a person attain enlightenment and liberation if he just practices the Dharma, in other words, the teachings? If he doesn't take full refuge in Buddha and he doesn't form part of the Sangha, the community? This guy writes, yes, but it is really rare. The Buddha is the one in history who attained enlightenment based on his self-training, self-discovery, and self-realization. His personal efforts cut off all roots of suffering. He is honored for his attainment of full enlightenment by self-realization of truths. Furthermore, the Buddha's first 5 holy disciples, as well as other holy ones in Buddha's time, became enlightened, not by taking refuge, but by listening to the Dharma directly taught by the Buddha. Generally, achieving enlightenment without taking refuge in the triple jewels is really rare in the realm of human beings, particularly an ordinary person. You should keep in mind that taking refuge in the triple jewels is the first step in becoming an actual Buddhist. However, to be enlightened and liberated or not depends on the ability of your spiritual training. So yeah, so they basically the previous question now somebody's gonna ask, all right, I don't want to be part of a sangha. Can I be? It's really rare, but guess what? Buddha did it. And guess what? His first 5 disciples did it. But you're just a regular, ordinary person. It'll be very difficult for you to do that. So go join a commune.
I find it's going a little off topic, but I find it interesting.
Really, I think we've been off topic most of the night.
Yeah, I know. I find it interesting reading that, and then we've been talking about Islam and Hinduism and all that stuff. How far they take it into your own actions versus trusting in God. This one being the worst out of all of them, obviously. There is no God to them.
Out of ever since we started, the Catholics?
Yeah.
We started with the Catholics, and we've gone all around the world. This has been the worst one.
Yeah.
Because at least in the other ones, there is a God. Might be a false God, but it's a God. This one is all about you, bro. It is 100% self-attainment.
Yeah.
It is self-attained enlightenment. You don't get help from anybody. Because even in the Hinduism, remember, there are, you go through the moksha, but then their doorway out of it is what they said. But if you give yourself completely to Isvara may have mercy upon you.
Yeah.
So they leave the door open for you not to have to go through the 100,000 freaking rebirths and all that. But here, no. Here it's you, dude. It is all on you to water that seed. And if you're not watering that seed, dude, guess what? No good. You're just going to continue to be unhappy, suffering.
And even Islam with Allah, they kind of obviously they believe in do they believe in a personal God the way we do?
Who?
Islam? I guess technically, right? But there's
no, Allah is impersonal.
Is impersonal.
Allah is impersonal.
So they believe in just you have to do the prayers and
you are a slave of Allah.
Yeah, exactly.
You do what Allah tells you to do, and then on the last day you will be the rewarded or judged.
So completely works based as well.
Yeah, all works
false relations.
Works based on the rituals, the 5 prayers a day, the da. Hinduism, same thing. Do good to others. Blah blah blah. Your karma. It's all about your karma. You got to put good karma in your bank account. Don't put bad karma. With these people, it's a little bit further because at least the Hindus, they don't really say that the good karma or the bad karma will hurt you in the next life.
Yeah.
These people stressed out a lot more, where your good karma will your next life, you'll have a better time. Like your life will be better. Even you think you're suffering now, your next life, you're going to suffer, but you'll be suffering in a better situation.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And talking about works and deeds, 33 starts to get into that now. Mostly going over donation, affectionate speech, conduct beneficial to others, cooperation with others. So it's may kind of explain to it. The question is, what are the 4 all-embracing virtues, or the?
Yeah, how do you say that?
The kata samgraha vatsu.
See, I would have said katu samgraha vastu.
Yeah, probably. That's not
Katu
right.
samgraha vastu. Katu samgraha vastu. Say that 3 times fast. Katu samgraha vastu. Katu samgraha vastu. Katu samgraha vastu.
Oh, you did a good job.
Booyah. Let's go to Mumbai. So what are the 4 virtues? What is our time?
55.
Oh, okay. The 4 all-embracing virtues are 4 actions concentrating on helping others achieve a true life of peace, happiness, and spiritual liberation. So in other words, these are virtues that they're actions that they concentrate on helping others
Yeah.
achieve a life of peace, happiness, and spiritual liberation. Thus, these 4 actions are named 4 all-embracing virtues. Katu samgraha vastu. For these actions have the ability to transform others and help them return to the truth of life free from defilements and sufferings. The 4 all-embracing virtues consist of donation, affectionate speech, the conduction of profit to others, and cooperation with and adaptation of others. The following, this is going to describe this. So let's first talk about donation. Mm-hmm. It is defined as charitable acts of giving, dedicating, or offering to others. Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
What are some of the categories of donation? Materials, true knowledge, security. And what are the purpose? What is the purpose of donation? Sharing sufferings of others and helping them return to the good and happy life. See, once again, I have problems with this. In other words, all of this right here, this donation, when they say helping them return to the good and happy life, that's a temporary return.
Yeah.
That's you helping somebody out and they're happy, but they're not returning to the good and happy life because they're suffering. They're constantly suffering. So this is where some of the terminology, I have problems with what they're trying to explain here. The second one is affectionate speech. Speeches of kindness, sympathy, and compassion. The categories are true and honest speeches in the right time, right way, and with encouragement. Okay, why would you need to give somebody a speech of kindness? Just give me, like,
I guess if someone's
sympathy.
If someone's going through like a downtime, I don't know, they lose their job or whatever, relationship goes sour, something like that.
Okay, so now let's see what the purpose is of this. Encouraging others to live wholesomely and ethically, avoiding doing evil, doing good, and purifying the mind. What does compassion and sympathy have to do with the purpose? Think of compassion and sympathy, and then read the purpose.
Purpose is more like teaching someone, I guess. But then
sympathy and compassion, tell me how they jive. Read it again so people know.
Encouraging others to live wholesomely and ethically, avoiding doing evil, doing good, and purifying the mind.
So I give somebody a speech of sympathy and compassion, and then the purpose that they give me has nothing to do with sympathy and compassion. Explain that to me. No explanation. Good. The third one is conduct beneficial to others. Okay, on the nose, this sounds like you doing something nice to somebody else. Let's see. Doing beneficial acts for others or serving others with kindness and compassion. Okay, I'm good with that. What are some of the categories here? Conducting good deeds through personal body, speech, and thought. And then the purpose of this is helping others benefit along the path of spiritual practice. I don't understand how doing beneficial acts for others, serving others with kindness and compassion has to do with helping others benefit along the path of spiritual practice. I mean, am I looking at it too broad or too narrow? They might say narrow because they think things broadly.
Yeah. Well, I guess the only way that I could think that jives is like the way we Christians will say, you helping others, like minus just preaching to them, you helping others is showing a likeness with Christ, like the way Christ would help people. So I guess that's the way they're looking at it.
But they don't have a Christ. that They don't have a Christ. They don't have a savior. Okay, all right, let's just keep going. In other words, if your enlightenment is completely based on yourself, what would you coming over to my house and saying, hey, I brought you a loaf of bread, how would that get me to enlightenment? It's stupid. Okay, all right. The last one is cooperation with and adaptation of others. All right. It's defined as cooperating with others practically in order to help them return to the noble path of enlightenment. Cooperating with others practically in order to help them return to the noble path of enlightenment.
So like teaching, studying, I guess.
Oh, cooperating though. Like in other words, okay, let's keep going. Applying all skillful means of personal ability to help others. Cooperating with others practically in order to help them return. Okay, and then the purpose is helping others return to the noble path of spiritual liberation and enlightenment. That's basically what the definition was. I'm assuming that this is someone that is out of the path.
Yeah.
That they're not watering their seed, and then you go and then like you kind of encourage them or help them get back on track.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, they just the way they write it, it's weird.
The next question is, what are the deeds of paramita? I don't know what that little thing is above the A.
I don't know. They have a bar above the A. I don't know if that's like if it's like paramita or paramita. I don't know.
Yeah. Transcendental perfection.
Transcendental perfection. What do you think this is? Well, let's see. Paramita is a characteristic of transcendent perfection that goes beyond the world of dualism, such as attachment to the self and others, or the inner discrimination between Atman and Dharma. Remember, see, now this is going towards the Hindus now.
Yeah.
This is speaking towards what the Hindus believe in, the Atman, which is the self, and then the Dharma, which is the belief. This transcendent perfection is also known as the spirit of non-distinction and non-attachment. This transcendent perfection is also known as the spirit of non-distinction and non-attachment. Wait.
So I guess
it is known as the spirit of non-distinction and non-attachment.
So I guess just being like free flowing, like you don't
remember the river of water.
Yeah.
For instance, you give a donation to someone. However, at the back of your mind, you are still entangled in the thinking of that donation, identifying the giver and the receiver. Donations to others in such a manner result in attachment to the performance of giving. All right. Namely, giving in the bondage of the self and others. It is absolutely not giving from your true heart of compassion without any strings attached, until you give a gift to someone without any attachment to the notion of the giver, the receiver, or the gift. You cannot truly reach the state of non-attachment to the act of giving. That is the true giving, free from the three-wheeled condition of giver, receiver, and gift. In other words, what they're basically saying here is, generally, when you give someone something, you are looking at the gift that you're giving, you're looking at the feelings of yourself giving, and then you're also looking at the person receiving the thing.
Yeah.
When you actually get to transcendental perfection or paramita, you give without the chain to your own mind, to the gift itself, or to the other person. In other words, it's almost like you give so freely that you don't even think about yourself, the gift, or the person receiving at all. You're just like handing it out, letting it flow, letting it rain, making it rain, baby, and not even thinking about how it's going to affect you financially, not even thinking about the actual $100 bills flowing, and not thinking about who's grabbing them in the air. It's just a complete state of transcendent perfection. That's when you know you've reached the fact that you are not attached to anything. I know it makes sense logically. I just don't understand how I can qualify that in someone, because I would have to know what's going on in their head to see if they're actually attached or not, or what they're thinking about. Once again, a non-qualifiable sort of practice or belief. And that's, once again, it's very hard for me to go with a lot of this, only because it's not qualifiable. Like, I could tell you, I believe in Jesus Christ, that he died on the cross and he resurrected on the third day. You say, how could that be? And I said, because it happened. I said, how do you know it happened? Because people wrote about it. What do you mean people wrote about it? I got the Bible. That Bible's been corrupted. What about historians? What about Josephus? What about Tacitus? What about all of these historians that wrote about Jesus? Well, those guys, they were just influenced by the Jews. All right. Okay. So where else can I go with this argument?
Historically, there was a man named Jesus at that time.
Yes.
According to the Jews, to the Romans, to the Greeks, there was a man named Jesus, and he was crucified on a cross under Pontius Pilate.
Exactly.
What happens after that? Sure, like, you have to believe the Bible.
You have to believe that. That's where the belief comes into play. But what if I were to tell you that in order for you to be saved, you have to believe in what Jesus was thinking right before he died on the cross? Well, it doesn't say.
Yeah.
The Bible tells me, God, why have you forsaken me? So I guess he was thinking about this and that. But in other words, it's a non-qualifiable belief system. How do I know that Buddha was enlightened? For 45 years, you mean to tell me that he gave away gifts that never even thought about it? I don't know. Just because he's telling me that he's not attached to it, doesn't mean that he's not internally attached to it.
Yeah.
Cult leaders.
I think that's where you kind of fall into trouble with Buddhism, even over Hinduism. At least with Hindus, you have a God that you could believe in, and scriptures that, if they were truly sacred, that written by God, I guess.
Look, at least, well, like you said, at least with Buddhism, I can hang up a pink elephant on my wall.
Yeah.
And it's something that I could see. This right here, it's all head games.
Yeah.
It's all, you're reaching this sort of liberation, you're reaching this, and you do it by doing the right speech, right this, right that, right action, blah, 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 blah. And then you suddenly have no more attachments, and you don't feel anything, you don't have anything, you no more suffering. It's all so worldly, earth-based that it's really, out of everything that we've talked about, is probably the most dangerous one.
Yeah.
And it is also the religion that is the most pervasive within our society right now, because there's a lot of Buddhist thought going on in the world, and especially in America. So it's definitely something that we got to keep track of and look at it and talk about, just to be able to let people know what's the truth here.
It's funny that you mentioned Star Wars earlier. Whenever, I don't remember, we were talking about the Force, whatever. Star Wars, the idea of it, like the whole Force thing, is heavily based on Buddhism.
Really?
Yeah. And you'll see people compare, like, they'll put certain religions on movies, and Star Wars is always Buddhism.
So, like what? Darth Vader's bad karma, Luke is good karma?
More so like the Jedis, like the balance, being in the Force, flowing with the Force, all that kind of stuff stems off of Buddhism.
That makes sense.
And then I'll hear some Christians say that Darth Vader and the whole Sith thing is more like Christianity. Not in the sense, like, obviously they're doing evil things, but in the way that they operate, where it's like trying to bring more people into their empire, is like us trying to bring more people into the fold of Christ.
You got to look up George Lucas and Buddhism. See if anything comes up. And dinner now.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
interested to see what's doing.
like I said before, we mentioned during Hinduism, there's a lot of Buddhist stuff going on in Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's bigger over there than it is on this side of the,
Of
the
course.
country.
I think I'm good for today, bro.
Yeah,
My throat is hurting.
Yeah, I could tell.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back.
Wait. No final thoughts?
Well,
I don't know. You don't want to thought anything?
all that stuff kind of was final thoughts.
Okay.
The Star Wars stuff.
That was your
yeah.
final thoughts.
Yeah, I was noticing you kind of being done, so I was trying.
Yeah. I don't know why my throat and my
Yeah.
eyes, something that. Yeah. Tanya's sick. I don't know. I think she's threw something my way.
Tom's definitely done over there.
Yeah, Tom. You can probably hear in the background a dog snoring. That's our dog.
All right. What?
Oh yeah, you didn't do that in the beginning. The whole like, subscribe, whatever.
Oh yeah. Well, if you guys are still here,
If you're still awake,
yeah. Thank you guys for joining us. If you hit that like and subscribe button, that share button, all of that, it helps us out. It helps more people see the videos and the channel. So it'd be great if you guys did that for us.
I don't even care if people like. I enjoy watching them. Like I do this just so that I can watch the video like 5 days later. So.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next week again with more Buddhism.
God bless you all. God bless you all. And if you are a Buddhist, water your plant, but come to the truth. Come to the one that is the source of living water. Living water is Jesus Christ, not the false water that surrounds you, the force, the cosmic, karmic, all of that. No, there is the true living water. That is Jesus Christ. Come to Christ. He is the way, the truth, and the life. And no one goes to God but through him. Please keep that in mind. God bless you all.
God bless. Amen.